Hi, and thank you for joining me at Mermaid Tears. Today I am down at the beach and I am going to be giving you some hints on looking for sea glass. As you can see, today the tide is out, so that is one of the things that will be working in my favor. And if you listen, you can also hear the water coming up onto the shore. This means that there is a slight flow to the ocean, so new rocks will be revealed as the waves go in and out. It's not particularly strong, but it will make a little bit of a difference. So the first area that I have come to take a look at, as you can see, is nice and rocky. So this is going to be hopefully a good find today. The tide is not as far out on this side of the cove as I was hoping, but it's still quite nice. So one of the things that I'm going to do in this spot is make sure that I really get in over here and look in these little spots between the rocks where things often collect. Now, as you can see, I'm very fortunate that this is known as Glass Beach because there is a lot of glass everywhere. You will also notice though that most of it is definitely the ambers and the whites, but if you're really lucky you can come across things like this green one here. It's a little bit small, but it's still quite a nice piece. I am going to take advantage that the tide is not as up close as it would normally be, and I'm going to come over here and start just looking in these little holes that are closest to the wall to see what I can find in these areas here. So there's this really funky piece here of ceramics. So I'm going to take that just because it's really interesting to me and I could probably do something with it. So I'm not sure if you can see or not. Right now I'm literally tucked into one of the coves. And down there is a piece of blue. Unfortunately, it's a smaller piece of blue, but when it comes to the cobalt blue, I take definitely what I can find. Looking through the curves, I have found something else that's really interesting. It's a rock with some writing on the back. And when I turn it over, it is another painted rock. Now, the other thing that I try and do is walk away from the sun. So as you can see, the sun is over there. And I want to try and face in the opposite direction just so that I, A, don't get a headache from staring at the sun, and B, notice the shine of the sea glass a little bit more. So unfortunately, I didn't have much luck over at the other side. Somebody that joined me a little bit later managed to find a red. I'm so jealous. I walked right by it. But I'm now going to head over to another area that a lot of the local collectors have called Hell Beach. Now, part of the reason that it was called Hell Beach is because somebody broke an arm here, but the other part is because it is hell to get to. So this is one of the entrance ways, and I am trying to get over to that point around the corner there. Much like the other beach, Hell Beach has a lot of sea glass on it and a lot of different colors on it and different sizes. A little bit of a hurry, so I am not going to be picking up a lot of this sea glass, which is very sad. I'm just looking for bigger pieces or blue pieces or original shaped pieces that jump out at me today. So here is what I was talking about a more unique find. It is the lip of some type of bottle, and I'm going to take that home and add it to my other collection of lips. As you can see here, I've been lucky enough to find a bigger piece of cobalt blue, so I'm definitely going to pick that up and bring it home for my collection. Hopefully you can hear me with the airplane in the background, but this is the other entrance to Hell Beach, which you have to kind of slide down. They can get very slippery on your walk. Once you are down though, you kind of come to this really, really slippery area here. Pieces here are really reclaimed by nature, so they are buried right into the rocks. So I am now on what they call the main glass beach here on the island, or this part of the island, and I will show you the tips and tricks for hunting on this beach. I apologize for when my shadow gets into the frame, but as I mentioned, I want to walk in the same direction that the sun is pointing so that it shows the sea glass. So my first walk would involve going along the waves right here and the shoreline where they are currently coming in, and to watch what the water is bringing in and clearing out. So I'd often walk back and forth just a couple of times. So again, there's some really nice rocky areas here, so it's important that I take my time, if I have the time today, to look through all of these rocky areas. It's a nice place to sit and kind of dig. Even from over here, I was able to spot, I don't know if you can see them very clearly, but a couple of pieces of the blue. And this is why you don't just do one sweep of an area. As you can see, I have found a piece of red today. So not only was I fortunate to find a red piece today, I was also able to find this beautiful orange piece, which is even more elusive than the red. And so another trick when you are looking for sea glass is to follow the tide lines. Those are the spots where the tide sits and rests when it comes in or when it goes out, and they're usually the areas marked with the most seaweed and the most amount of debris. So these are the areas that you want to take time to kind of shuffle through and sit and really dig and see what is under there. So if I could, today would be one of those days where I would stay out on the beach, probably at least 3 hours, just combing through all of the rocks and walking the water line, just because today the conditions for glass hunting are absolutely perfect. So just to summarize, the tide is out. I am walking against the sun, although I do often walk towards the sun. I think it's good to get a perspective from both directions. I also followed along the tide lines to see what has washed up in those areas there. And then if I had time, I would actually sit and I would sift through all of the rocks in the area to try and find perfect pieces. For more information on hunting for sea glass, please visit my website, mermaidtears.ca. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on another edition of Mermaid Tears.